And tonight, Little Rock police are still looking for the man they believe is connected with a homicide that happened on Friday night around 6:30. Police were called to Mableville Pike Road after a shooting where one person was killed and another injured. Now take a look at your screen here. Police say that this man, Gerardo Castanian, is wanted for first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. If you know anything about where he might be, police ask that you call them. And we turn now to the latest COVID-19 data. Now, even as hospitalizations continue to decline, the virus continues to have a big impact here in Arkansas. Yesterday, the number of COVID-19 deaths surpassed 10,000 people. In today's report, 40 more Arkansans have died from complications of the virus, bringing that total to 10,065 Arkansans that we've lost to COVID-19. But we are starting to see some declines in overall hospitalizations. That's with 40 less patients than yesterday. But still, more than 100 people are fighting the virus from a hospital bed. And even as overall cases start to trend downward, new people can still get infected, with cases rising to more than 800. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Arkansas senators and representatives will meet at the Capitol to discuss state budgets for the 2023 fiscal year. This is the 7th fiscal session held in Arkansas history. The process began back in 2008 when Arkansas voters approved an amendment to allow annual General Assembly sessions. This session is expected to last about a month. In the past, Governor Hutchinson recommended an increase for state police salaries and more funding for Arkansans with disabilities. In this session, the governor said publicly that he'll be asking the legislature to give $100 million to fund state prison expansion. And tomorrow at noon, Hutchinson is expected to address the General Assembly shortly after legislators convene to address his budget proposal. That's what we just mentioned. This will be Hutchinson's last State of the State address. THV 11 will be following this, and we'll have more coverage tomorrow. And President Biden is doing what he can to try and heat off a feared Russian invasion of Ukraine. This comes a day after the president warned Russian leader Vladimir Putin against an attack. Biden spoke with Ukraine's leader as well. Tom Hansen has the latest from New York.
More U.S. troops from the 82nd Airborne Division arrived in Poland as a growing number of Russian forces encircle Ukraine's borders. During a call Sunday with Ukraine's leader, President Biden reaffirmed Washington's commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The president restated the warning he delivered Saturday to Russian President Vladimir Putin that the U.S. would respond swiftly and decisively if Russia invades.
We continue to see very troubling signs of Russian escalation, including new forces arriving around Ukraine's borders.
Russia has deployed a vast arsenal, including roughly more than 100,000 troops. Missile, air, naval, and special operations forces are in place, and so are military supplies. American officials fear Russia could orchestrate a reason to move into Ukraine.
We also are watching very carefully for the possibility that there is a pretext or a false flag operation to kick off the Russian action, in which Russian intelligence services conduct some kind of attack on Russian proxy forces in eastern Ukraine or on Russian citizens and then blame it on the Ukrainians.
As tensions mount, Dutch airline KLM says it's canceled flights to Ukraine until further notice. Tom Hansen, CBS News.
Here in Arkansas, love is in the air ahead of Valentine's Day, especially at the Grind Coffee Shop Bistro in Little Rock. It's a Black-owned coffee shop, all started by a woman who says her goal is to make sure that this year everyone feels the love. As THV 11's Jade Jackson shows us, this is something the owner strives to do every year.
Heather McKinney says she started this coffee shop in order to bring cultures together, and she's doing just that by turning this into this.
I wanted to be able to have a space where everyone can come together under one roof and enjoy something that brings people together, coffee and food.
Tonight on the menu is wine with a 3-course meal for couples a day before Valentine's Day, with live jazz music playing in the background. The atmosphere is all about conversation, and at the Grind Coffee Bistro, it's also all about
changing perspectives, changing people's opinion on how things should be and how things go.
Heaven McKinney says she's the only Black-owned coffee franchise in Central Arkansas. Her approach is to always bring events to Little Rock that she feels is needed for everyone, a part of all communities.
Food, for one, has always just been the comfort. You know, when you sit down with family and friends, it's always with the plate or it's always with some kind of food involved. I just think that it makes a very open atmosphere.
And she's wanting to keep conversations going with old faces and new every time they walk through the Grind Coffee Bistro's doors.
It makes me feel good just to know that when they leave here, the impression and the idea of what should be a Black establishment is totally different when they come in here.
In Little Rock, Jade Jackson, THV 11 News.
Now, if you're someone who maybe didn't plan reservations or a last-minute shopper for Valentine's Day, don't worry. Central Arkansas Florist says they have you covered. Tomorrow, Tipton and Hurst is just one Little Rock florist ready to help with all of your Valentine or Galentine's Day needs. This is a big Sunday for Arkansas florists for more than one reason.
Well, Valentine's is the Super Bowl for florists, and with the Super Bowl today, and the Super Bowl this weekend, and also Valentine's the next day, that's kind of like the perfect storm.
Stormy, but not impossible. If you still need to shop for your loved one, don't worry. Again, you have time, but probably sooner the better. You can stop by anytime tomorrow between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. In tech news, there's a new safety concern baffling police across the country, and now it's here in Arkansas. Apple AirTags, a technology used to track down lost items, is being used to track people. THV 11's Ashley Godwin finds out how you can protect yourself if this happens to you.
This small device can be put on your phone, on your keys, and your wallet. In case you lose them, you can easily find them through the tracking system. But some Arkansas women have found this Apple AirTag on their cars, not knowing whose it was or where it came from.
I was scared. I didn't know what it meant.
Lena Hackworth was running errands around Walnut Ridge when she got a message on her phone. An Apple AirTag is found moving with you, and the location can be seen by the owner.
I had really never heard anything about an AirTag.
She immediately called her IT guy at work, who knew exactly what was happening.
He said, "Get to the clinic now. That means somebody's tracking you."
This isn't the first time this has happened in Arkansas. A Jonesboro woman had the same notification come to her phone. She found the device underneath the hatch of her trunk. For Lena, it was inside her car.
It was up underneath this, like underneath my tire.
Both women reported the crime to police. Jonesboro PD said they've had 2 cases in the area that they know of. Hoxie, where Lena filed her report, said this was a first for them.
You can certainly see how that would be unnerving to an individual, certainly somebody that was, not able to protect themselves or afraid of attack or something of that nature.
The most frightening thing about this, it's legal in Arkansas.
There's not anything specifically in Arkansas that I'm aware of that says you can't track somebody.
But Bill James with the James Law Firm says if someone is caught doing this, there's other laws that could protect the victim.
Harassment, there's a stalking law.
In the state of Arkansas, harassment includes following a person in or about a public place and placing a person under surveillance. Stalking is harassing a person and making a terroristic threat, causing someone to be fearful of death or injury. James said a prosecutor would have to be able to prove a person was committing one or both of these crimes for them to be found guilty.
I do expect it's going to be something that's going to increase. I think you're going to see a lot more reactive legislation that's going to come out making it illegal to track people. I could certainly see how that could happen.
And with this being so new, police are having trouble investigating the technology, coming up with no leads. Jonesboro's public information officer told THV 11, quote, "We do not have a special unit that investigates high-tech crimes like this. Our 2 cases were unsolvable due to the lack of evidence of who placed these devices on the victim's property." Apple said they will work with law enforcement to find the owner of the device. All AirTags are linked with an Apple ID account, which could provide a name, email address, phone numbers, and possibly a physical address for the owner of the tag. And there are safety measures within the device to prevent unwanted tracking. An iPhone can recognize if an AirTag is not with its owner and will send you an alert if it's been with you for a while. If you do not have a smartphone, an AirTag separated from its owner will play a sound to alert you it's there. Also, you don't have to have an Apple product to find these AirTags. In December, Apple introduced Tracker Detect to the Google Play Store. The app allows Android users to scan for nearby tags. So, if you find one that doesn't belong to you, you're asked to take it to the police where they can work with Apple to find its owner.
If they find themselves in the situation I was, just please make a police report because it's scary. You're constantly watching over your shoulders right after it happens because you're just scared somebody's following you.
In Little Rock, Ashley Godwin, THV 11 News.
Thanks, Ashley. And Apple says that the AirTag devices will now undergo software updates this year that will improve privacy warnings during AirTag setup and try and alert people sooner if an unknown AirTag is traveling with them.